Pit stop check, we've got our snacks, and are ready to hit the road.
When you think of Texas, you think of Longhorns and cowboys. Here at the Butler Longhorn Museum, you'll learn about the history of Longhorns and how important they were to Texas and the U.S. Come on and let's take a look.
Join Joe as he chronicles his road trips through the cities, towns, highways, back roads, and various regions of the Lone Star State. This is Texas Chronicles with Joe Perez. My adventure takes me to the historic town of League City, Texas, where I'll be visiting a hidden gem among the oaks, the Butler Longhorn Museum. The Butler Longhorn Museum is located at 1220 Corral Street in League City, Texas. Only minutes away from Space Center Houston, the Butler Longhorn Museum and Heritage Park offers a look at Texas and the American West through its history, art, and science. The museum sits on a 10-acre waterfront park in the historic district with shaded picnic sites, a fishing pond, playground, and a walking path. The museum features a vintage movie theater with popcorn and refreshments, gift shop, art gallery, and research center. The Butler Longhorn Museum tells a story of this amazing comeback, and in doing so, also tells a compelling chapter in the story of the American West.
This museum has just been a wonderful, wonderful place for families to come, children, school children, and also our seniors. When people walk in the door of the Butler Longhorn Museum, it's a wow factor. They go, oh my gosh, oh wow, I had no idea this was here. It's a Texas gem right here in their backyard. When people come in, they're very, very surprised that we have the history of League City and also the history of the Butler Longhorn family. If it wasn't for the Butler family, we would not have Texas Longhorns. They were dying out after the Civil War. Milby Butler started that breeding program right here in League City with 7 other families, and if it wasn't for them and the Wildlife Refuge, we would not have our beautiful Texas Longhorns. The Longhorns played a significant role in the income of Texas. And if you were in the oil business and you had an oil well, you also had a Longhorn. Some of our exhibits here in the museum are really breathtaking. We have one of Doc Holliday's rifle cases, which is incredible to see. We have some very old guns, very old rifles dated back from the early 1900s and the late 1800s. We have Civil War handcuffs.
Now, Milby Butler, this guy right here, this is George's youngest son. He had, I think, 8 kids, and Milby was one of the youngest. Milby was the only one of George's kids that wanted to get into the cattle business as he got older. So after George died, Milby ended up inheriting basically all of his land and cattle. Milby actually has a little bit of claim to fame because they came down and filmed the John Wayne film, The Alamo, here in 1959. The filmmakers needed Spanish cattle for their background shots, and Longhorns are, at their earliest origins, cattle from Spain. So they came down here. The film crew basically set up shop on the Butler Ranch for over 2 to 3 months, and they filmed Milby's cattle for the duration of that movie. John Wayne actually lived with the Butlers during that. He got to know Milby very well, and he would go on to say later in life that Milby Butler was one of his best character studies for a Texas rancher, and so if he ever had to play one, Milby was who he based that character on. And the other thing that happened was that there was one cow in particular that John Wayne took a liking to. Milby, however, refused to part with her. John Wayne offered Milby Butler $2,000 to take her home with him as a souvenir, and Milby still refused. So they ended up naming the cow Miss John Wayne as sort of a consolation prize.
I'd like to introduce you to Miss John Wayne, our movie star. She was in the movie The Alamo. She has a double twist, a true double twist, and your females, your cows that have the double twist like this are always a female.
Milby did not want to let go of her, and that was true of most of his Longhorns. He did not sell any, he did not slaughter any for profit, and you could borrow one of his bulls for breeding purposes. But when you were done with it, you had to give it back. It was not yours to keep.
The Longhorn Museum is available for school groups, weddings, meetings, and other events, including private tours.
This is our education center, and we have bricks for kids here today. And we also offer piano lessons in this room, as well as guitar lessons and art lessons for adults and children. This guy is just a social butterfly. He loved people. He would follow people around all through League City. One way into League City in the early 1900s, late 1800s, that was on 2nd Street, and that was also the way that you left, was on 2nd Street. Longhorns have teeth. All of their teeth are here. They have no teeth here in the front. Longhorns are also colorblind. They only see blacks and grays. So, you know, like these bullfighters with the red cloth, they don't see that red cloth. What they see is a movement. And these animals, Longhorns as well, as long as other breeds too, they get really curious and they want to know what's going on. This guy here's father is upstairs, Classic. He is one of our $1 million bulls. This is a descendant, a son of a $1 million bull. Pretty awesome. Come to the Butler Longhorn Museum and check it out.